In one of my earlier videos, I made the point that if you were to prove to me conclusively that Kobe Bryant was only the eighth best player in NBA history, and you could also prove to me that Kobe Bryant did a better job of bringing out the best in his teammates, that it would be preferable to have the number 8 guy in terms of basketball skill, that could also bring the best out in his teammates than it was to have the number 1 guy. Nick Wright's point was that LeBron James was the best player at basketball. And what he means is overall shooting percentage, rebounding, assisting, scoring, best at basketball, completely discounting impact on winning. There are a lot of talented players in the NBA that no one wants to play with, or that are cancers to their team. To discount intangibles in any sort of GOAT qualification seems unwise at best and just foolhardy to me at worst. And so I made the point that if you tell me, the guy I've got is only one of the best players in NBA history at basketball, if you will, but that's the guy that's got the best intangibles, I want that guy. Because you see, the impact that a player that inspires his teammates is palpable. And that brings me to Chauncey Billups, who is currently the head coach of the Trailblazers. Chauncey Billups, for those of you, well, I'm sure most of you do know, but Chauncey Billups' claim to fame was that he won the Finals MVP in 2004 with the Detroit Pistons, beating the Shaq, Kobe, Malone, and Gary Payton Lakers, essentially ending the Lakers dynasty, because of course they broke up after that. Chauncey Billups led that team. Chauncey Billups is a career 15-point per game scorer. He shot for a career 41% from the field. Exactly 0.415% from the field. He averaged not even 3 rebounds a game and not even 5.5 assists per game. There's literally nothing he excelled at. He did manage to get to 5 All-Star games. But I mean, you could almost double Chauncey Billups' career numbers, and you'd be approaching, an all-time great player. You could definitely increase them you can increase all of Chauncey Billups' numbers by 50 to 70%, and then you'd be looking at a GOAT status player by the numbers. But you see, my question is, why is this winning percentage pretty much up to GOAT status? Chauncey Billups' career winning percentage is 61%. Okay? And furthermore, I had heard from a number of podcasts that Chauncey Billups had been to the conference finals in both conferences, and I never really looked at it, Turns out Chauncey Billups has been to the conference finals 7 times. And if you look at the number of conference finals games, Chauncey Billups has 41 conference finals games. So I want you to think about this. This is the leader of his team typically, because he's the all-star, right? 15 point per game score, 41%. He's been to the conference finals 7 times. He's been to the NBA finals twice, and he's got a chip. The 41 conference finals games. Now, this is a somewhat misleading statistic because, I mean, obviously, this is contingent upon the number of games per conference finals appearance, you know. So, I mean, in theory, one could have been to 10 conference finals. But, I mean, to have played 41 conference finals games in one's career means you've been there quite a bit and you fought hard. That means you won some of those games. Those series lasted into the 5, 6, 7 games. You weren't swept. Okay? And of course, we know he and the Detroit Pistons beat Kobe Bryant. Famously bragging that, mistaken, but, bragging that the Pistons' game plan for the series was to basically let Kobe shoot the Lakers out of the series. And he says that's what happened. And, sure enough, they did win the series, but he conveniently forgets about the Karl Malone injury, but I digress. But I just really want you to think about how profound a statistic that is, because you see, Chauncey Billups has more finals appearances more conference finals games than Steph Curry. He has just as many as Kevin McHale. He has more than Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, James Worthy, Dwayne Wade. How's this guy getting to the conference finals so much? This is basically a role player for much of his career. But the thing is, I mean, he's not a role player in the sense that he isn't the best player on his team. He is routinely one of the best players on his team. Again, he makes the All-Star team. So, how's he able to lead his team so far into the playoffs year after year? Chauncey Billups only started 70 games, 11 seasons in his career. Let me make sure you really, really get that. Chauncey Billups only started 70 games for 11 seasons. And he went to the conference finals 7 times. And you say to me that all we should evaluate are stat lines. That's all we should look at. We shouldn't look at impact on winning. Here you have a mediocre player that has not that far off of LeBron James's career win percentage. LeBron James's win percentage is about 65%. Chauncey Billups is 61%. That's a significant difference, but it's not gargantuan. When we look at teammates, Chauncey Billups only had 2 teammates that were Hall of Famers that he played with for more than 200 games. That's Carmelo Anthony and Ben Wallace. There are players that have played with 5, 6, 7 players for 200 games. 200 games, that's about 2.5 seasons. where you're playing with a Hall of Fame caliber player. Chauncey Billups only played with two of those players. And we know it's not like Carmelo Anthony played defense. So, he certainly put the ball in the bucket, with the best of them of all time. But, it's not like Carmelo Anthony was a two-way player. And by the way, he played with two Hall of Famers, neither of whom were two-way players. How did Chauncey Billups win so much? All of you people that keep talking about Kobe's field goal percentage, how is it that Chauncey Billups wins so much?